It was like, I would say it was pretty much love at first sight. In fact, it was so intense that Cleta came up behind us and we were just gaga at each other, and she says, "Get a room." His mother was a concert violinist for the Cleveland Philharmonic. Jim grew up as a child playing a big grand piano. And he didn't discover stringed instruments until he joined the Navy. He had a nice life, and unfortunately it didn't work out with his parents, and the family separated. His father died of lung cancer when he was 49. Of course, both of us had been married before, and we didn't want a big production. And our dear friend Ray Schmidt has this annual Oktoberfest. And about 3 days before the Oktoberfest, Jim calls Ray up and says, "You know, you've always told me that you'd like someone to come out to your farm and your campground there and have a wedding in the country." And he said, "Did you really mean that?" Because Nan and I would like to come up there and get married. 3 days notice. We had this beautiful outdoor wedding, and Ray videotaped it. And Jim played his fiddle for me. He played the music. Jim played his fiddle as I was walking down the steps, and we stood under this bower of flowers and logs and rough-cut shingles, and said we did.
Exactly right. We've got Jim Calvin and Royann Cooper in with us tonight, and good music right here.
All right, well, we'll do another one off our Swill CD, Sonic Sculptures. This one's called Ophelia.
The beginning was back in Covington, Louisiana, or Mandeville, Louisiana, rather, where we'd all hang out at this place we called headquarters, where all the musicians would come through all the time and land in Mandeville and stay with us a couple nights. And I was just learning to play guitar then, and Jim was one of my influences when I first started playing. He was my first bluegrass influence. We did mostly original stuff on stage. Jim wrote wonderful original songs, and we do a few of the standards, but just to blend it out.
He played fiddle, guitar, mandolin, and banjo, and I guess some electric bass too, so he played just about all the type instruments that I deal in.
They were a very successful duo in Nashville, and between Jim's solo act and playing with Royann, he has opened for just about everybody in country music. I mean, you name him. Tim McGraw wanted to hire Jim to play in his band. And Jim said, "Well, I'll do it on one condition, that you hire my wife, Royann, as a guitar player." And he says, "Well, Jim, I've already got a good guitar player, a good rhythm guitar player."
most customers are just looking for a few specific models, but Jim really was interested in pretty much the whole gamut because he played country, he played bluegrass, he played electric, he played acoustic. And you know, I have customers who play mandolin, or customers who play banjo, or acoustic guitar, or electric guitar, but seldom all of the above.
Just some words come to mind. He's authentic. I mean, he's the real deal. He's the real thing. He's been out there on the road and playing music and living the musician's life and crossing tracks with all kinds of people, and he's about as colorful a character in the music business as you'll ever meet. And
in Vallejo, California, there's an old established country dance hall type place. And it was, of course, big with the sailors and everything, and then the local country western types, too. I had a lot of fun there. I got free drinks there for months afterwards. I was amazed. I said, wow, this banjo playing's a good thing. Look at this. Treated with respect and deference.
Was Hank, did he have the twin fiddles at the time?
Yes. I mean, guys dressed sequin shirts and the whole 9 yards. It's probably about the end of the time where they really quit doing that so much, but they look like they stepped right out of the 50s, you know, early 60s. Took pride in putting on a professional show.
Bob Wills, he quit like early 60s, didn't he, in California?
I don't know that much about the end of Bob Wills. I just know I played a gig in Austin one time. I think it's called the Broken Spoke, and they had some Bob Wills memorabilia in there, you know, in the office or under glass. And one thing I thought was cool was somebody had the presence of mind to save one of his cigar butts, you know, and I've still got that in an ashtray where he butted out a cigar. Yeah. But that's just me. I like collecting old strange stuff.
He had a friend who he calls Billy Bayou. That's not his real name, but they were living in Louisiana, and Billy came up to Nashville and liked it and said, hey, Jim, you ought to come up here, you and Royann, and he was married to Royann at the time, come up here and you can have a great career in Nashville. You know, there's all kinds of opportunities here.
We played in Printer's Alley for about a year and a half. That was right after we first got here. That was back in '92. One day we were sitting out at the house, actually at the apartment, and listening to AM radio, picking and praising on Wixie and Dixie in Gallatin, Tennessee. And we was barbecuing and what have you, and sat there. All of a sudden they said there was a Spigma festival. So we get there and they're just packed in there. There's at least 200 bluegrass bands, anywhere from 2-piece to 5-piece with amplifiers and packed in real tight. So I went, I don't know if this is going to work. So we gathered a little crowd and played about 30 minutes, and all of a sudden this little fella, kind of stocky biker looking guy, walks up and He goes, I pick you. Picks, doing like this on the back of Jim. You pick us for what? He says, a 28-day festival at Dollywood. Okay. About the time we was doing that, we're getting calls from Nashville that it was just popping over here, going crazy. During that period of time, it was a lot of college kids going on mainly, and BR 549 had Roberts just packed 3 days, 4 days a week, and Greg would play every weekend, and we would slap in the middle of them at the Bluegrass Inn, and we played 3 or 4 days a week over there. We were doing better at Dollywood than we were, you know, that's why when Greg called us up, we were like, yeah, right, we're going to leave this and come back to Tip Town. We didn't really play pure bluegrass. Bluegrass people would go, no, y'all play too fast, or we didn't have harmony singing because, well, I was just breathing too hard from playing too fast. We called it original alternative hillbilly Americana, and we rode that for a while.
Girl I love, anytime we down Dixie. These stars up above, so the sweetest girl ever did see. So took her in my arms and told her many times I kissed her while the fiddles played on a partridge tree. All the world was bright as I held her on that night, and I heard her say, please don't ever go away. So took her in my arms and told her many times I kissed her while the fiddles played on a partridge tree.
Send one out to Royann's mom, Miss Marion Irwin, down there in Covington, Louisiana.
Hey, Mama.
She's been under the weather a little bit, and we just want to send this pretty song out to her. This one's called The Fields of Franklin. First became an apprentice show dog groomer, and I worked my way on up till I was part of the show. I had these earmuffs that looked like bear hair, you know, and they called me the Baricuto Gigante, the giant bear. And I'd dress up like a bear every night and scoop the poop, you know, and but then they saw I was a man of more talent than that, and I got to start working with the show dog and the monkey. The show dog was gaited like a Tennessee walking horse. He could move around there approximately 25 to 27 miles an hour, but his back would stay motionless and flat. And they put a little monkey on his back and a couple of homemade kerosene torches, and I got to where I'd light the torches for the monkey. Then I'd come out here and have a smoke and a drink. I'd have several drinks. I asked them what they'd take for me to buy this dog out of the circus, and they wanted $6,000 cash American, and I gave it to them. And you know why I did? Because he asked me to. Doc Watson, the soul of Monero, captured in this fiddle. We're taking it all back to Tennessee. See you there. This one's old West Virginia sawmill tuning here. The red violin, Bag Alley. We're going to do the oldest song we know. Bag Alley. It's this old tune called The Hangman's Reel. In the bad old days, back in the 1500s, you know, if a fella really done something bad and they decided they was going to give him the capital punishment, they was going to hang him, right? Well, they wanted to make sure he couldn't play fiddle good, you know, because you can't have enough good fiddle players. And they would have him play this song, and if he played it really good, well, they'd spare his life. And if he played it bad, they'd be twice as anxious to carry out the sentence. Right? So we're going to do the hangman's reel. And
I get the noose ready.
Hey.
Doc Watson, once famous Mexican show dog. He's on the cover of my new record, These Songs Will Hunt. The Doc's also the effigy head of this violin, the Monero violin. Monero was a smuggler, I told you about that. They captured him, the Indians did in Chihuahua, and they captured him and put his soul into this violin and carved the head like Doc Watson. But I'm here with Vincenzo Goldberg, the owner of the Circus. Vincenzo, say hello to the folks in Tennessee.
Oh, sí, mucho circus, sí.
Yeah,
Sí, owner.
You missed this dog, huh?
Oh, the dog I miss very much.
He's the best dog there ever was.
He's the best dog I ever knew.
He was the greatest show dog in all of Mexico.
One of the best.
I thought he was the best. I mean, what'd you do with that $6,000 I gave you?
I bought more dogs. Each dog is worth more to me now.
None of these dogs could replace this dog, though.
This is the main dog.
The main dog, the greatest dog of all Mexican show dogs, Doc Watson. And there you have it, folks. Straight from the mouth of Vincenzo Goldberg, the owner of the Mexican Circus.
Sí, owner of a Mexican circus.
He did leave Louisiana at some point, and he had a totally different and wonderful career in L.A.
He went and auditioned for a milk commercial. Not too many people showed up, and he wasn't real good at the fiddle yet. That's why on his business card, his first business card he come out with, it was an actor first, and then musician, and then composer. And the reason he put actor is because he got this milk commercial without really knowing how to play the fiddle, so he had to act like he played the fiddle. And at the end of the milk commercial, all you'd see is Big Jim's hat, and he'd come up and he'd play the fiddle and go, "Milk!" And that was the milk commercial.
Milk. Milk been very, very good to me. I did a milk commercial, you know, years ago. It was big. Made $30,000 over a period of time for one day's work.
And that was out of where?
New Orleans, American Dairy Association. They came from Los Angeles to film it. We got done at the end of the day. The director put his arm around me on the elevator in the hotel and said, "Man, you ever read Vonnegut?" And I said, "Well, sure, some." And he said, "You know, that book here talks about pumping good chemicals and pumping bad chemicals. We really pump good chemicals today. Watch for yourself on television soon." About 3 weeks later, wham, I'll blow on national TV, prime time. Milk, playing the fiddle. Right, Doug? Doug, milk been good to you? Been good to me.
Got a lot of bit parts. Worked in the Mel Brooks film, and he was very popular for stand-ins for large men. You know, he never had a lack of jobs, and he's quite a character too. You know.
I got the blues and I can't be satisfied. If the blues don't kill me, I'll catch that train and ride. Well, I got my gal a big old diamond ring. Bought my gal a big old diamond ring. When I got home, she was doing the same old thing. So grabbed my shotgun, broke that barrel right down.
We played for years and years on this street, and then did Dollywood, and Jim got to be in a Hank Williams Jr. video. That was pretty wild, hog wild actually. It was real wild.
Yeah.
Everybody knows! Everybody knows! Everybody knows! Everybody knows that we're hog wild!
Now I play the song of the Magic Dog.
So he was always an interesting person. He wasn't one of my most profitable customers because he wasn't after my most expensive instruments, but it usually worked out where we could do some trading. He was always looking for something, change of pace, variety. Actually, for a musician and for a composer, instruments do that for them. And each one has its own personality. And I think Jim was very much into that, because there is something from the pure musician's point of view. It's different from the collector. The collector wants primo, perfect, pristine examples and then just keeps them. Mm-hmm. Unless he finds a similar one that's better, that's more original or just more perfect, fewer scratches. But Jim wasn't so worried whether it had scratches. He was concerned whether it had soul. He was certainly aware of what some of these things are worth. So it's not like he would trade you something that was extremely valuable for something that was junk. I mean, he was quite aware of what he was doing, but actually from a musician's point of view, it made good, logical sense.
We walk up to this guitar and we see George Gruhn, and he's approaching from a different direction. And we thought we better step it up. Not that this is George's cup of tea necessarily, but it is.
You never know.
It's a different guitar for sure. We got up there and picked up the guitar. My ex-wife Royann, in fact, had the guitar in her hand, and was looking at it and tried to hand it to me. And George had stepped up and inadvertently had stepped on one of the strings on the ground, so he had a hold of the guitar with his foot by way of one of the strings, you know. And Royann said, "Hey, can you get off my guitar strings?"
Also on the CD that
Readily
folks
available.
can purchase for $10 American money.
That's right. Calvin's Music at webtv.net. That's Calvin's Music at webtv.net. Or go to that search engine Google. Go to Google and punch in Jim Calvin. By golly, and you will find more stuff. You'll find stuff I don't want you to see. You'll find stuff that you'll enjoy seeing. By golly, you will be entertained. You find my humble website, and there's all kinds of funny jokes and pictures there, and you'll be highly entertained, I guarantee you. If you're not, I'll send your money back.
And there's also a phone number that people could call to get this project.
That's correct. 615-758-6186. That's 615-758-6186.
It'll put you...
See that. We're going to hillbilly it down for you with banjos, fiddles, mandolins, guitars, spoons, and lots of silliness to go along with it. We're going to start out with the soul fiddle with the one we wrote called the Swamp Stomp Shuffle.
I heard him play and sing a fair number of times over a span of probably at least 20 years. And he was a good musician. And he was an interesting one to listen to because there are some people who are technically good but still boring. Technical perfection and being a great entertainer are not the same thing.
Jim was the first in about 3 or 4 generations of his family not to become a medical doctor. And he did go to pre-med in college, and he left when his father died. He didn't finish the pre-med when his father died. I think that pretty much took the wind out of his sails as far as being a doctor. And I think, too, Jim he has a very strong moral sense, and he just didn't feel like he wanted to be a doctor for the right reasons. In other words, he would have wanted to be in it for the money and the position, but not necessarily to treat people. And he felt like if he was going to be a doctor, he should be in it for all the right reasons, to treat people. And he decided that his medicine, he could make better medicine, make people happier by playing music.
Is that why you keep that fiddle case?
That's exactly right.
Okay,
That's
now
right.
I get it.
Oh yeah, and our show used to be a little bit violent. You know, she'd be kicking me, whooping me, hitting me with spoons.
But I'm not married to him anymore, so I can't do that.
Don't have a license to fight. Johnson's old gray mule, listen for the kicking of the mule.
That would be...
written up in the Nashville scene, and at one point they described his voice, his singing voice, as that of a molasses baritone. And so he got quite a bit of notoriety, and he and Royann came very close to getting record deals with a couple of record companies. Unfortunately, Royann had a very bad bicycle accident and was laid up for a while, and that put a stop to their East Coast tour. And then after that, they separated and finally divorced. So they still play together and still do on occasion when they get together, but it's never been quite the same.
Well, hey, my name's Jim Calvin. This is the beautiful and talented Billy Bayou right here. And thank you for coming out to our Swell Humble Sunset Showcase. Say that 3 times in a row. Sunset Showcase. All right. So we're just going to kick it off and play you some new songs, some old songs. They're in my songs. This first one's called Louisiana.
Sweet magnolia, Spanish moss, slow moving by and a racing horse in Louisiana. My old heart is lost. Ocean City, New Orleans, Okaloosa and the Delta Queen. The nightlife is the good life. You'll see what I mean. Home of Huey and the Mardi Gras, Cajun ladies that don't wear no bras. In Louisiana, my old heart is lost. Little breast mother, white-tailed buck, split-mouth bass and a mallard duck, fishing for a catfish, trying to change my luck.
He has, in the past few years, become a prolific songwriter, and he has written what he calls explicit melodies. His musical tunes are just hauntingly beautiful. Jim also, when he was in Nashville, became very close friends with the late, great Townes Van Zandt. Townes is a great songwriter. He's been dead for a few years now. But Townes wrote the song Poncho and Lefty and If I Needed You. And he met Bill Monero one night when they were out playing. And Jim is probably the only person that ever lived who has written songs with both Townes Van Zandt and Bill Monero. Written and played with them.
He had lost a whole lot of weight and had just gotten up, and it was the middle of the afternoon, so he was moving kind of slow. And I got home, and he sent me an email the next day and told me that he had pretty advanced lung cancer, and that, you know, they weren't giving him a whole lot of hope, and he wanted me to know that.
Let's say goodbye.
Okay. I'll see you. I'll call you when I get into North Dakota. See you in the movies. Okay.
The film was something like an American Cafe. Blues don't kill me. I said if them blues don't kill me, Lord, Lord, Lord. I'm gonna catch that train. I'm gonna catch like that trade. It's got me so bad, I'm gonna smash my guitar, cause I can't take it no more. Loud, loud.
We like to play at least one slow song every day, and I guess we'll do that one right now. We were down there in Franklin, Tennessee. You know, they had a terrible, terrible Civil War battle back in 1864. That's 20 miles south of Nashville here. And we were walking around that battlefield one day, and this melody popped into my head. So we named this one The Fields of Franklin. Hope you like this. And beautiful town of Royann, don't forget to play pretty.
I got here about 3 weeks before Jim passed away, and stayed there with Nan and Jim, and just sat with him and told stories and played music and kept him light. And I was there with him when he left. Actually, he was having a bad day, and we had hospice coming in and out with the medicine and everything, and he just kept hitting that pain button that day, and well, he leaned over and took a breath and never caught it. After that, we had the funeral, and well, a lot of friends showed up and paid respects and played him the song out the door, and a big part of my world went away that day. And wish I could backstep some of it, but proud I made every bit of the journey.